Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being look over us. May, may the Divine Being support us, support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace and beneficence be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. Well, welcome to our Tuesday evening class on the life of Holy Mother, Sri Sarada Devi, as presented to us by Swami Chaitanananda in his book, Sri Sarada Devi, Her Divine Play. I'll just note that of all of the wealth of information that there is available about Holy Mother, and there is a tremendous amount because she lived until 1920. So there were many people recording and so on. Out of all of this, the Swami selected what appears in this book. I point this out because Swami Chaitanananda is himself a very saintly and senior monk of the Ramakrishna order and very wise in his choices. So what is presented to us is, like the Gita is said to be the cream of the Upanishads, I would say that this is the cream of Holy Mother's experience, life, and teachings as presented to us by Swami Chaitanananda. So before we go ahead, is there any question or comment that anybody would like to make based on what we've read so far, or any thoughts or concerns or questions?
Yes, Brother Shankara.
Yes, dear.
I have one question.
Yes.
Was M there at that time?
M was definitely alive when Holy Mother was alive. Yes, yes. And knew her quite well, was very close with her, visited her often in Kolkata. And also, I believe he went and visited her in Jairamati, though I wouldn't swear to that. It's almost certainly mentioned somewhere in the book whether he did or didn't. But M was very much there, and though he didn't deliberately record the life of Holy Mother as he did the Master, because he was, as the Master said, Mahendranath Gupta M was his, Sri Ramakrishna's, instrument for presenting his life to us in the gospel, life and teachings. So that's what I know about that.
Hari Om Shankara.
Thank you.
If I remember correctly, M used to support Mother by giving 10 rupees every month or something like that.
I think you're absolutely right, and that is mentioned in this book. Yes, you're absolutely right. Unless these days 10 rupees is not much, of course, but in those days 10 rupees a month was a good deal. If you earned 30 rupees a month, you could support a family on it. Just barely, but you could support a family on it.
Was there anybody else who recorded like M and Sri Ramakrishna?
Oh, many, many
Mother's,
people, many people. We're reading right now. I believe we're going to start with Swami Shatmananda. We've been going through these number of people who recorded Holy Mother's life. And if you want to read a very, very detailed, it's as comprehensive as he knew how to make it be, get Swami Gambirananda's book on Holy Mother. It is as exhaustive as he knew how to make it. He gathered together, and he of course knew her himself, but he gathered together her recollections. I believe Gambirananda knew her. As I stop and think, that may not be so. But in any event, he did a very exhaustive job. It's a very thick book with as much information as he could find.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Brother Shankara,
Yes, Jeff.
in the preface, which starts on page 10 of our book, actually on page 11, Swami Chidananda starts mentioning all of the works that had been written about Holy Mother. And on page 12, he has quite a list of the main sources that he drew from in putting this book together.
Thank you so very much, Jeff. How like you to find that information for us. Very good. So pages 10, 11, 12 of this book, Jeff just pointed out, has a list of the sources. And there are many, many, many. So rather than put his bibliography at the back of the book, apparently Swami Chitananda chose to put it at the beginning of the book. Anything else? I'm so glad we had this little conversation to start off. Gets us off to a good start.
The last sentence, what we read from last Tuesday, is in my mind.
And it is?
That is, when one of the Swami asks, how do you look at Sri Ramakrishna? And she answers, he is my child.
Yes, which left them speechless.
Yes, that is.
Yes.
So that is where she really said, she is the mother of the universe.
Yes.
That keeps ringing in my.
Thank you very much, Balaji. That is an accurate reading of what she said. She is the mother of the universe, and we are all, including the avatars, we are all her children. As Swami Vivekananda said of Sri Krishna is but mother's shadow. So, anything else from anyone? All right, Didi, please proceed.
Thank you, Brother Shankara. Namaste and good evening, everyone. We are on page 688 at the bottom. Swami Ishanananda also recorded a few of Holy Mother's teachings. There is no wealth equal to contentment, and no virtue equal to forbearance. One more time, I'll read that one. I like that.
Yes, yes.
There is no wealth equal to contentment, and no virtue equal to forbearance. Forget your individuality and try to realize your true nature. How can any harm come to one who always thinks of his or her chosen deity? Do you know how one can develop equal love for all? Do not expect anything from the one you love. Only then one can love everyone equally.
Now that is such a profound, profound statement.
in Brother Shankar.
How does one, how do you, how
You know,
do you know how one can develop equal love for all? Same-sightedness. Uh, what a profound, profound way to be. Do not expect anything from the one you love. Only then can one love everyone equally. And as your love expands, everyone is included in it. And so what happens, as the saints will tell you, as you develop this ability and this tendency not to expect anything from anyone, they will continue to surprise you with what? Their true original nature, the truth of their divinity. It is, when one doesn't try to limit them in any way, they express their unlimitedness. Okay, Hamadidi.
look, is he a human being who has no compassion in his heart? Holy Mother was the ultimate authority for the Ramakrishna order. In case of doubt, dilemma, problem, or crisis, the monks sought her advice, and the omniscient mother offered solutions. Swami Saradeshananda described her advice as concise and clear, discreet and practical, affectionate and compassionate.
Now remember, Sardeshananda was that was Sardananda, sorry. I was about to mistake. Sardeshananda is somebody else. Okay?
Above all, she taught through her exemplary life. Swami Saradeshananda's record illustrates this. The head of a center could not control the junior monks who were the mother's disciples. So he sought the mother's advice. She said, the boys have become monks to call on God and make their lives blessed. They are doing their best for the ashrama and will always do so. They are now grown up. Their minds and intellects are developed, and they are aware of right and wrong, good and bad. Under such circumstances, if they proceed to work independently, you should not be an obstacle to their path. However, if you stop them, they will not be able to continue working permanently under you, going through mental privations. If you find any difficulty in getting your work done, you will have to respectfully explain the entire situation to them. They have been obeying you all along and will also do so now. One can accomplish everything by love.
Now, there it is. And this was both Holy Mother's instruction and Swami Brahmananda's. One can accomplish everything by love, not by discipline, not by rules, not by limitations and crowding people up with expectations. One can accomplish everything by love. You cannot make a person work by force or by what is that word? Duplicity.
Duplicity.
Yes.
Duplicity.
What is duplicity? Duplicity is saying one thing and intending another. Any comments or questions about that? It is such an instruction to us about how to work with others. Remember, this starts with contentment and forbearance are the great treasures. It's only from when you are truly content and forbearing that you can be loving. It's only then.
Because she is the living example of that, especially forbearance with
Yes.
relatives.
Oh, yes, yes. Her relatives and her disciples. Sometimes we've read, there was a section presented by Swami Chaitananda about her difficult disciples. Some of them were really a handful. Thank you, Balaji. Anything else from anyone?
Yes, I just want to pipe up and say that once I got the book and joined this class, I started reading the book from the beginning. That's why I knew about the preface and all that. And I'm about halfway to where we are now, so I'm catching up. So right now I'm in the section about how Holy Mother exercised such forbearance in dealing with her family and relatives. And I can't believe it. I can't believe that she was so holy and her family was mostly not recognizing that fact and very unholy themselves. And I was just amazed.
Yes, she did occasionally get impatient with them. And you'll read in that section that she was asked by someone whether she would be born into that family again. And she said, oh, no. I've had enough of these people. They must have done some remarkable austerities in past lifetimes to be born in a family with me, but they're not they're not being very austere this lifetime. So, anything else? Thank you, Jeff. That was very apt. All right, anything else? All right, Haimadini, please read on.
A brahmachari from the Garbeta ashrama was traveling around collecting money for the ashrama. One day he came to Jairampati. Holy Mother always felt perturbed whenever someone came to that area to raise money in the name of the master or in her name. Nonetheless, she fed that brahmachari affectionately and inquired about his visit to Jairampati. She then told him, my son, the poor people of these villages somehow survive with great difficulty by farming. It's not right to collect money from these people. If you appeal to them for money in the name of the master, they will consider him disgusting. The term fundraising always created an uneasy feeling in the mother's mind. Indiscriminate mixing with worldly people and engaging in gossip with them lead to one's degradation. Holy Mother always...
Would you read that again, please?
Sure.
Because once again, this is Swami Chaitananda speaking directly to us now. He's not quoting the mother. He says about this business about fundraising and so on, creating uneasiness in the mother's mind. And then he says something very direct to us. And it is very much to our benefit to heed this. Please read it again, Haimadini.
Sure. Indiscriminate mixing with worldly people and engaging in gossip with them lead to one's degradation. Holy Mother always cautioned her disciples against this danger. Once she went one of her disciples on an errand to a neighboring village. He finished his work, spent a long time there, and then returned to the mother. She later learned that the disciple had finished his errand quickly. He then stayed to chat and got entangled in an unfortunate situation. Saddened, the mother firmly told him, whenever you go on an errand, as soon as it's done, return immediately. It is seen that some people dig for earthworms on the shallow surface, but then they dig deeper and face a snake. Oh, I like it. It's beautiful. What? It is human nature to create big problems out of petty matters. The mother always taught her disciples to have patience and forbearance and to endure everything calmly. She quoted the master, Sha, Sha, Sa, forbear, forbear, forbear. He who forbears survives, and he who does not perishes. She said, one suffers as a result of one's own karma. So instead of blaming others, one should pray to God, depend on his grace, and bear those sufferings calmly under all circumstances.
Once again, a very difficult teaching. This is to forbear in dealing with other human beings, particularly one's own family and others that you have to deal with, like at work and so on. Sri Krishna says in the Gita, the way to do this, the way to develop this titiksha, the way to develop this forbearance and compassion is to think of those others as the divine being. Think of them in that way. You don't need to say a word to them about it. Just think of them. I am dealing with it. I can feel it every moment or not, whether they know it or not. I will do this insistence on truth. I will do this satyagraha that all of the teachers tell me that this is all one existence, one divine being appearing as all these many people. So when one thinks of those many people and those that one has to deal with, particularly in difficult or as the Swami points out, petty situations, things that don't really warrant getting all worked up about. But nevertheless, it is human nature to do that. So when other people are doing it, forbear, forbear, forbear. Don't become entangled. Any comments or questions from anyone?
What is the minute difference between patience and forbearance?
Patience is something you have for yourself that then becomes patience and forbearance when you direct it to others. If you're patient with yourself, if you don't be, impatience is just another distraction. It is nothing more than that. It is wanting something that isn't here in this moment. If we just accept this moment for what it is, and even though it's difficult, and even though we want to be out of that suffering, one of the great teachings of the Buddhists is choose the pain. Choose the pain. Say, all right, I'm not just accepting this, I'm choosing it. And you will find if you do this, that it has a remarkable effect when you're experiencing physical pain. If you resist it, it increases. If you choose it, it decreases. This is an experienced fact. So patience is something we direct toward ourselves. Then when it comes to the outside, we can be patient and forbearing toward the others. What does Chaitanya's prayer say? O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like the tree. Take no honor to thyself. Give honor to all. How? Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like the tree. Take no honor to thyself. Give honor to all. Very difficult teachings. So he then gives the answer as to how to achieve it. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord, because within the name of the Lord is the power, all the power, the strength, the courage, the forbearance. And is it going to happen this moment, or the next, or this week, or the next month, or the next year? It will happen slowly and slowly as you practice. But you will see that if you do that, what Sri Krishna promises is, if you truly do keep the recollectedness of the Lord and the Lord's name in your mind, which is best done by chanting it, what happens is holiness itself shall transform you. From within that practice comes the power, and it is no longer a matter of self-effort. Holiness itself shall transform you. This is Krishna's promise in the Gita. So this is the way Chaitanya starts his prayer. Chant the name of the Lord and his glory unceasingly, and then listen to the promises, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quenched that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O beloved, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. Why moonlight? Our nervous system cannot stand the full sunlight of the divine presence all at once. So it has to be reflected. It has to be reflected as moonlight is, so that it's tempered and made softer. O beloved, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. These are the promises of the great teachers, the avatars. We can believe in them, and this completely underlies Mother's life and teachings. These are her children, as she said of the Master himself. These avatars are her children. These are her teachings that they're communicating to us. Any comments or questions from anyone?
As we meditate more and more, Brother Shankara, as we progress in meditation, equanimity and forbearance also improves.
Yes.
It
absolutely.
definitely, you see the difference in ourselves. We can see the difference in our own selves
And
as we progress on that, in the meditation process.
Yes, because what does meditation do? The practice of contemplation, concentration, and meditation replaces lower samskaras with higher samskaras. Samskaras are mental impressions. There are lower mental impressions, those that we have collected over all these lifetimes, we're told. But then as you encounter them in your practice of contemplation, concentration, and meditation, you learn to set them aside, the lower ones, and replace them. The mantra itself, or the object of your meditation, is in itself a higher mental impression, until there is only that one great thought of that great mental impression, or single thought of divine presence. And this, as Haima said, as you practice, spontaneously this happens. And it's slow. But our feeling of slow is because we have such a misperception of time. We think a human life is a long time. It's not a long time. It's not even the thought of the beginning of the thought of a blink in the eye of the cosmic mind. It's just, as Sri Ramakrishna said, trying to give us an idea of the length of a human life. He said, a human life is of only 2 days duration. A human life is of only 2 days duration. So quickly it comes and goes. So our perception that 40 years of practice is a long time, it's not a long time at all. Any comments, any concerns, any questions? Anything from your own wisdom or experience to offer in this regard?
As we start realizing ourselves through meditation, Brother Shankara, and we drop all those negative things that are coming in towards us, we drop them in the trash
That's
can.
exactly, we
We
set them aside.
automatically drop them. It just happens to you as you progress in that process
No,
of
no
meditation.
question about it, dear.
Yes.
No question about it.
Don't want to be
If-
related to
but
those.
two things are important to recall about it. It must be done regularly,
Yes,
and
definitely.
it's best done in a routine so that the body learns to expect this is what's going to happen at this time.
Really agree with you.
It's so that the body and the mind learn to cooperate, because I mean, the mind it only seems like it's independent and cantankerous. It's actually very trainable. So if we make the effort to train it, it will cooperate, simply because it is its nature to be cooperative. It doesn't seem like it in the beginning, but it is its nature to help us rather than stand in our way. It takes some convincing because it's been for the last 60,000 years, it's been more and more emphasized until this is what Patanjali's Yoga Sutras is all about, learning how to control that left mind. Anything else? Thank you so very much, Haima. So true what you're saying. Anything else from anyone? All right, please read on, dear.
Once in Jairambati, Holy Mother was rearranging something in her room by pushing a heavy table when the top of it came off and fell on her foot.
Oof.
She was badly injured and her foot was bleeding from a deep cut. It was painful and she sat down, holding her foot with the tears trickling from her eyes. Everyone present rushed to help her. The doctor came from the dispensary, applied medicine, and bandaged the wound. Holy Mother blamed herself. I thought that I could clean the room nicely by moving the table, but while lifting its heavy top, it fell on my foot. I will have to bear the result of my karma. I could have easily asked someone to move it. Just now, a boy came from Kolpara with groceries. He ate refreshments, talked to me, and then left. He could easily have moved the table for me, but I wanted to do it myself. And as a result, I was injured. I will have to go through this suffering in accordance with my destiny.
Now notice how the Holy Mother not only took the responsibility, but she saw clearly that there were opportunities to avoid this. And you can bet she learned from that. You can bet that she was much less likely to be this kind of willful in the future. She was, like all of us, she was intolerant of her limitations. So she said, I thought I could move the table. So.
And brother, do you think there was a trace of ego there that she was noticing in her desire to move the table by herself?
Well, sure. Well, this is the thing about the divine incarnations. When they come, they have all, she says, and the others have all said too, they come with all the limitations of being human. This is why Jesus said, I have overcome the world. I have overcome the limitations. And they experience all of the things when they take human form. They experience all the limitations of the human form. So this is what she means by her destiny. She decided to take human form, and so all the limitations of the human form were there, including, as you said, a trace of ego. And so she was self-willed. She didn't ask the boy to help her, though he could have easily done it. She thought, I can do this. Well, we all do that. We all make those mistakes, and sometimes it costs us. This is why Chaitanananda included it in the book. We can all take instruction from this. It isn't like she was bad. She was just expressing the self-willed ignorance that all human beings are prey to. Thank you, Jeff. That was very astute.
Very good.
Anything else from anyone? Okay, dear.
Nalini gently reprimanded the mother for her action. The mother kept quiet. Gradually, her pain subsided. She then said to Saradeshananda, my son, don't write about this accident to Sharath in Calcutta. He will be anxious and immediately send someone here, and there will be a commotion. That person will go through trouble to come here unnecessarily. This wound is not very serious. It will heal easily. Holy Mother had an independent nature, and she never blamed others for her sufferings.
So there it is. She had an independent nature. And all that's true of every spiritual aspirant. They have an independent nature. They are self-determined. And that has a wonderful upside in that you don't allow the world to limit you by its expectations and its unnecessary conventions and rules of behavior. You may cooperate as necessary, but you know you're doing it and you're not doing it because you believe in it. You simply know you must to be part of society. But the self-determined person, or as it is said here, she was independent. So celebrate that self-determination in yourself and in others.
Brother Shankara,
Yes.
The sentence here is, she then said to Saradeshananda, my son, don't write about this accident to Sharath in Calcutta. Well, he wrote about it to somebody because we're reading about it now.
Oh, he put it in his diary. That's
okay.
That's where it came from. These recollections are in these monks' diaries. So I'm sure he obeyed the mother and did not write to Swami Saradananda, who the mother called by his birth name Sharath. Saradananda was her guardian, and he would have indeed wanted to send someone to make sure that her foot was all right and that she wasn't going to get an infection and so on. And so she said she determined that, probably from what was said by the doctor that came from the local dispensary, that this was not all that serious. it was painful, but he was treating it adequately, she felt. Anything else from anyone? Yes, the Swami Chaitananda, if he didn't find it elsewhere, he gathered together more source material, primary source material for this than anyway. He describes it in the beginning how he just gathered together source materials. Anything else? All right, please go on, dear.
When Swami Vivekananda first introduced philanthropic activities in the Ramakrishna mission, some monks thought that these activities did not conform to the ideal of Ramakrishna. But Holy Mother reminded them, all work belongs to the Master. My children, work for the Master. Otherwise, who will feed you? If you go on begging for food from door to door in the sun, you will get dizzy. If you do not eat well, you will be sick. Don't listen to those who doubt the activities of the Ramakrishna mission. Work well, eat well, and meditate on God.
And what did Sri Ramakrishna said? He gave the direction. Serve Jiva as Shiva. Serve other human beings as the divine being. Serve Jiva as Shiva. Not out of compassion. It's not, he said, compassion, compassion. Who am I to be compassionate? No, this is the divine being. It's not a question of being compassionate toward the divine being. And so, and the divine being doesn't even need our service. We need to serve. We need to serve. This is what Vivekananda pointed out. He said, when he heard the master say this, he said, if I get the chance, I will take this message to the world. And he did. And so it is in that spirit, if we serve in that spirit, then there's no danger of entanglement. There is much less likelihood of being attached to the results or to our actions. Serve Jiva as Shiva. So the master had given the direction. Vivekananda perfectly interpreted it, made it part of the Ramakrishna mission. And the Ramakrishna mission monks were very much criticized in the early days. Other monastic traditions that didn't have this as part of their, it of course has been part of the Catholic tradition for many centuries, but it was not true of the monastic traditions in India. They were much more inward focused. And so they accused the Ramakrishna order monks of doing what they called women's work. Oh, they're doing women's work, they scoffed. And Vivekananda and Holy Mother and Brahmananda said, pay no attention to it. Just go on serving as Vivekananda determined us to do. And so that's the direction is for us. Comes right down to us. Anything else from anyone?
The only thing that it reminds me, Vivekananda's teaching is when you serve somebody, thank them for giving that opportunity for you.
Precisely. That is his very potent and Balakrishna just about quoted him verbatim. It's a very accurate paraphrase of what he says. And it's in his teachings. Particularly, you'll find it in that small book, Karma Yoga. You'll find that serve others and see it as an opportunity and a grace and thank them. Even if you don't thank them openly, you thank them inwardly for giving you the opportunity for service. Swami Prabhavananda said, sustain and comfort. Sustain and comfort. Anything else? Thank you, Balaji. Okay, dear.
The mother always encouraged her devotees and disciples to practice japa and meditation. But she kept a vigilant eye on them and cautioned them not to overdo spiritual practices. She forbade them to practice too much austerity, and at the same time, she did not like too much luxury regarding food and clothing.
The
Those
middle path, the middle path.
who had an opportunity to live in the company of the mother.
Start again, dear. We lost you.
Sure. Those who had an opportunity to live in the company of the mother realized that she taught them strength of character for building their lives, renunciation, forbearance, self-control, spiritual sadhana, firm faith in God under all circumstances, steadiness, devotion, and dependence on God. Let me read this one more time.
Please read that list again, dear.
Yes, I want to. I'll go back to the mother. The mother always encouraged her devotees and disciples to practice japa and meditation. But she kept a vigilant eye on them and cautioned them not to overdo spiritual practices. She forbade them to practice too much austerity, and at the same time, she did not like too much luxury regarding food and clothing. Those who had an opportunity to live in the company of the mother realized that she taught them strength of character for building their lives, renunciation, forbearance, self-control, spiritual sadhana, firm faith in God under all circumstances, steadiness, devotion, and dependence on God.
And dependence on God. Emphasis on the word dependence. Devotion and dependence on God. Rather than depending on ourselves, we depend on God. We do the work, but we depend on God for the resources, for the strength, the courage, and so on. So anything at all from anyone about that list and Mother's, what it was that Mother encouraged her devotees to do? Okay, dear?
Just reading this book itself teaches us all these things, Brother Shankara.
Yes, it
As
does.
we continue to move on, we're absorbing all this knowledge from her.
Yes. Just as naturally as breathing. Okay, dear, please read on.
She did not care for emotional outbursts among her disciples. Rather, she wanted them to be balanced, calm, steady, and resolute. Swami Vasudevananda recorded the following teachings of Holy Mother. In 1918, a devotee asked the mother, "Why do I have bad thoughts in my mind?" Holy Mother replied,
Now let's everyone just listen up. Why do we have bad thoughts in our mind? She's talking to all of us here, not just to this one person. Why do I have bad thoughts in my mind? Holy Mother replied,
"It is the natural tendency of the mind to go downwards. People build a dam to save water by tremendous effort, but sometimes the dam breaks and the water goes away. Still, people try to keep the dam intact. Let me tell you, holy company and spiritual talk help the mind to move upward."
which is just exactly what Haima pointed out to us about reading this book.
True, very true.
So please read that again, dear.
I will. It is the natural tendency of the mind to go downwards. People build a dam to save water by tremendous effort, but sometimes the dam breaks and the water goes away. Still, people try to keep the dam intact. Let me tell you, holy company and spiritual talk help the mind to move upward. Moreover, even the mind of an ungodly person changes by the grace of a holy man. A greedy man went to a holy man in Vrindavan to learn how to make gold and received a philosopher's stone from him. Later, that man developed this passion for wealth and received divine knowledge from the holy man. Thereafter, he threw away that stone. In the disguise of a monk, a hunter went to catch birds and observed their simple and fearless nature. This generated renunciation in him, and he gave up the cruel profession. So I tell you, have the company of the holy whenever you have an opportunity. If holy company is not available, read holy books.
This is holy company. This is one of the things that I say over and over about what it is that we do when we gather like this. We are holy company. The divine being is one in all of us. It seems that there are 9 of us here. Well and good, so it seems. But the truth of the matter is that underneath that is that unity, that one existence, that one being. And so this is holy company. And this is why we're encouraged to gather like this and study like this and be together like this, because it does carry the mind and the spirit upwards. Jai, 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 the divine being. Any comments or questions or concerns from anyone? All right, dear, please go ahead.
If holy company is not available, read holy books. The mind becomes pure by discussing the lives of great souls. Look, the movement of water is always downward, but the scorching sun evaporates the ocean water as vapor, which rises up and is blown away by the wind to the top of the mountains. There it becomes snow. Then it melts as water and flows through springs and rivers and helps humankind. I would like to...
That is a metaphor worth our meditating on. I mean, taking it into your contemplation, concentration, and meditation. Please read it again,
I
dear.
want to read this whole paragraph one more time, Brother Shankara. Is that okay? Can I read the whole paragraph one more time?
Yes, please.
Okay. In 1918, a devotee asked the mother, "Why do I have bad thoughts in my mind?" Holy Mother replied, "It is the natural tendency of the mind to go downwards. People build a dam to save water by tremendous effort, but sometimes the dam breaks and the water goes away. Still, people try to keep the dam intact. Let me tell you, holy company and spiritual talk help the mind to move upward. Moreover, even the mind of an ungodly person changes by the grace of a holy man. A greedy man went to a holy man in Vrindavan to learn how to make gold and received a philosopher's stone from him. Later, that man developed this passion for wealth and received divine knowledge from the holy man. Thereafter, he threw away that stone. In the disguise of a monk, a hunter went to catch birds and observe their simple and fearless nature. This generated renunciation in him, and he gave up that cruel profession. So I tell you, have the company of the holy whenever you have an opportunity. If holy company is not available, read holy books. The mind becomes pure by discussing the lives of great souls. Look, the movement of water is always downward, but the scorching sun evaporates the ocean water as vapor, which rises up and is blown away by the wind to the top of the mountains. There it becomes snow. Then it melts as water and flows through springs and rivers and helps humankind.
Amen.
I will stop here. We have 4 minutes, Brother Shankara.
Yes, and I'd like to observe this full moon that we just had was a very powerful full moon. 4 people dear to me were left the body during this full moon period. Tom Couch, John Kasich of this community, this spiritual community. Tom Couch was still one of the leaders of this place and had been for over 30 years. John Kasich, as Swami Yogeshananda said, wrote on the back of a picture of John Kasich, he said, the leader of the group from 1985 to 1990. And he remained a peripheral but involved member of this community. He ran something called the Bamboo Grove Retreat, where he served as a teacher and a therapist. Those were the 2 local ones. And then in California, 2 of my dear ones, Sadhika Ma, who was one of Swami Prabhavananda's disciples, as she went back to the 50s, the late 50s, and she was in her 90s when she passed away. She was a nurse, and she used to rescue homeless children from the streets of Hollywood, homeless teenagers, and take them into her home and nurse them back to health. And through the aid of a dear friend of hers who was a trained therapist, she would try to encourage them to reconcile themselves with their families. And so it was one of the teenage girls, Ilyana, that she had saved when Ilyana was 15 years old. When Ilyana was in her 20s, it was Ilyana who was known, my brother, younger brother, Evan, knew her. She learned that I was looking for a teacher, and she was the one who brought me to Swami Prabhavananda, Ilyana, one of Sadhika Ma's rescues. There were several. And then another was one of my goddaughters, Rory Schneider, who was a very troubled girl. That was why she ended up being a goddaughter of mine. Of course, I haven't seen her in many years, but she died probably of an overdose of drugs this last weekend. So, of course, the Queen also left us, Queen Elizabeth, during this full moon. Gareth Young's father, as you heard on Sunday, left. There were many departures, apparently, during this full moon. So why bring all this up? Let us just hold the thought in our minds that death is not what it seems to be. Death, as Sri Krishna points out in chapter 2 of the Gita, is nothing more than shedding this temporary stardust spacesuit that we wear. Nothing whatsoever happens to the subtle body, let alone to the spirit of which the subtle body and the gross body are manifestations. So, though we may mourn the loss of loved ones, we should celebrate their transition and the fact that they are now free from suffering and limitation as we experience it. In the subtle body, there's still some limitation, of course. But so whatever you may have experienced, may it all be joyous beneath the very natural sorrow that we feel from losing loved ones. So that's very a very strong feeling coming from here. Is there any comment or question or concern that any of that that raises with you? All right, dears. I think that was the perfect place to stop.
Yes, Brother Shankara. Next week, maybe we can pick up that same paragraph and then continue from there.
Yes, I think so.
Very great wisdom in that one.
Oh, yeah.
So much wisdom for us to grasp.
So, Om Hari Om. Om Asatoma Satkamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Abir Moiti. O dearly beloved, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from this realm of relentless confusion to thine abode of silence, serenity, clarity, and peace. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from darkness and ignorance to the brilliance of thy wisdom and love. Lead us from darkness and ignorance to the brilliance of thy wisdom and love. Lead us from death to immortality. Light us through and through. Light us through and through with thy everlasting, shining presence. Om Hari Om Tat Sat. O beloved, make it so. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Durga Durga Durga. May we be safe. May we be healthy. May we be cheerful. May we have peace of mind. May we be always in the loving and protective embrace of the Divine Being as our Mother and Father. Hari Om Tat Sat. So, any final thought from anyone? All right, dears. The next opportunity for us to gather together, of course, is tomorrow night when we continue our study of Divine Grace. And I will announce now that we are closing the class on Monday nights and are asking for your opinion about what we should study on Monday night. We have been studying the book Love Poems from God. Apparently, we've exhausted people's interest in that book. Well and good. We went all the way through it once, and we're going through it again, and got about, I don't know, a third of the way through, and people just lost interest in going over it again. So they weren't coming to the class. So, well and good. No attachment to that. but the inclination is to start studying the Gita, start studying Bhagavad Gita on Monday nights. It's not a decision, it's just an inclination from here. So if you have anything that you'd like to contribute, anything that you would like to say about what we might take up on Monday nights, please just send me an email about it. And I'll be making that announcement again tomorrow night, and then on Saturday and on Sunday. And on Saturday, of course, we'll take up our study of Swami Prabhavananda's translation of and commentary on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, published as How to Know God. And then on Sunday, you will hear, last Sunday, you heard from Gareth Young on the topic One Dream or Three Dreams, and very interesting discussion and presentation and discussion indeed. And then this coming Sunday, you'll hear my presentation on it, which is a presentation very formally, so to speak, within the context of Raja Yoga, which is what we're studying this month. So any final thoughts or comments or questions from anyone? All right, dears. And by the way, Gareth Young will come and join me for breakfast in the morning. He's a dear friend, so I'll be very much enjoying him, which is why I asked Jeff earlier not to call me until after 11 o'clock tomorrow. So a great good night to all of you. May we all be well and in bright spirits. Jai Shri Ramakrishna Jai.